what a powerful film this is, and such a love story. I'll start with Hugo. I mean, I go back to films like The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing and great westerns like that had a bit of romance in it, but a lot of action. And this is certainly kind of a new century version of those great films from the 60s.
It was certainly the inheritance that I explored. That's what I was most interested in as a kid, and now as a guy who wanted to make a movie. Those are the westerns I look towards. Pictures like Anthony Mann's pictures, George Stevens, later on, of course, the great Clint Eastwood, Outlaw Josie Wales. And normally the kind of mechanism of those projects is revenge, is something has gone wrong, and the guy's got to go out and restore justice, in essence. But you're right. The relatively unusual quality of this picture of The English is this love story, this kind of epic quality of romance, which is present within it. So there's this mechanism of revenge, but really it's the story of this relationship that develops in that pursuit of revenge between two characters. And it's that intimacy that I'm really engaged in.
Chaske, tell me a little bit about your character, Eli.
Well, Eli Whip, he's an ex-Pawnee scout, just been discharged. He's on his way back to his home to reclaim for the Homestead Act, and he's lost everything in his life. And I think, and then there's a scene he has a monologue where he talks about what he's lost and what brought him to where he was. And that was, I know it's a meaty and dark subjects to study, but I love that stuff as an actor. And so getting to do that and to try to bring Eli to life in that screen was quite fun. And on his journey, he runs into Cornelia, and they end up meeting and going on the adventure, like Hugo said, love, death, guns, everything. And it was really fun to play.
He's a hell of a presence in it, isn't he? I mean, he is. Let's be honest. I mean, okay, I wrote and I directed it, but man, he's good.
You blew me away with this performance. It wasn't surprising because I know that you're a hell of an actor.
Thank you.
But again, with a scene partner like Emily Blunt, I think that brings up everybody's game.
Yes, it does. It does. And she comes in with her own weight and her own presence, and it's quite fun working with her.
She's very playful, isn't she?
Yeah, very playful.
Very kind of. She got a character of real motivations, but actually the way in which she approached that character and the way she brings the energy onto the stage, as it were, on the location, is incredibly positive and light.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think it was incredibly effective for that display. For me, all I had to do was put the camera in the right place and stay out of the way.
Well, I think you did more than that, because you're dealing with so many different things in a film like this. You're dealing with weather, you're dealing with animals, you're dealing with extras, and the unknown. And I think
interesting thing was that in the end, what we had to do was sort of obey the rhythm of the horse. We had like 30 horses on set all the time, and we were in the middle of nowhere. And we slowly or quickly got to realize that actually what the horse does is what we can do in a day. So in the end, everybody calmed down, because it's just going to be what the horses can do, guys. And that's everything. And actually, it made for a very, very sort of impactful experience, very pleasant experience for everyone, because it was literally like being in a circus.
Sergio Leone once said that the minute you put a horse in the scene, it becomes the horse's movie.
I like that.
Well, yes. Emily and Chaske managed the presence of the horses, whatever. But you know what? I tell you what you do experience when a horses are very skittish. They don't just stand there; they're pretty nervy and they skid around. But what's weird is that although they can terrify the crew and the actors because they're being skittish, if you forget it, if you don't worry about it, when you see it back on lens, the horses kind of disappear. They do what they like. They're sort of moving around or whatever. But as long as you stay in the scene, it looks as if it's purposeful. And therefore, the scene looks truthful and authentic. The reality of the horse's presence adds to that truthfulness. I think that was kind of effective.
Chaske, what do you think audiences are going to take away from watching the series?
Oh, so much. I think, first of all, it's a Western.
Yeah.
And I think that the relationship between Cornelia and Eli, also the story, there's another story going on underneath the Eli and Cornelia story. And I think that people have a lot to relate to. There's of course, you have the plight of the Native American, which is told through Eli and some of the characters. Also the Irish, the settlers that came in. And what is it? The British
aristocracy as well. The cattle barons up in Wyoming that sort of kind of presaged the era of the historical era of the cowboy. Yeah. But you know what? In the end, it's just a hell of a good adventure.
Yeah,
it really is. And I want to thank you for the wisps of humor throughout the whole thing too, because it's so watchable that way and so very human.
Let me ask you this: have you ever been to a funeral and you wanted to laugh? It's the most terrible thing, but that's what happens. Modern humor, the blacker the moment, sometimes the funnier it can feel, and that's sort of part of what the story was doing, finding a little bit of that modern humor.
Do you find that true, Chaske? Is the more dramatic the scene, the more need to just kind of let it all out and laugh?
Oh yeah, especially when you're working. If you're working on a tough scene like that, you can't help but between takes. You have to bring the light to it and laugh a little bit about it. But I think, I love dark humor. I love that because it's more true than anything else.
Before we go, and by the way, thank you guys so much for the time and in chatting about this. But before I go, you're shooting in Wyoming, right?
No, sir. Come on. We were in Spain, my friend.
You were in Spain shooting this? Wow. Well, Spain is the new Wyoming.
I know. Wow. Who knew? Luckily, we both knew the kind of terrain we were looking for, and we managed to find something that was like it. But it was a surprise until we discovered that all of our Spanish crew had aunts and uncles and fathers and mothers who had worked with the Sergio Leone and Carbucci and all of that spaghetti era movies. And that technique and that experience was all brought to bear on this picture. They were a great crew. Amazing, really. It does have a European.
I would think working in Spain, the catering must have been just amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The Wolves certainly liked it. We once opened it up to for the Wolves to come on set. And they said, "Don't worry, no one knew. Just let the Wolves do their thing." Of course, no one told the T-boy about this. The next thing we heard is screaming T-boy as the Wolves went straight for the food. So they loved it.
Well, the series begins November 11th, I believe, on Prime Video, and I just want everybody to catch the first 3 or 4 episodes of this because you'll be locked in, and it's such a great series. You guys did such a great job, and again, thank you for the interview this morning.
It's a great pleasure, and thank you for your kind words.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.